Dye's an inside linebacker. He's 6'4", 230, somewhere between 226, 230 in that range. One of the things I like best about him is his willingness to take on blocks and his ability to get off blocks. He's very long, and he's very good at using his length to pop an offensive lineman coming to get him at the second level and to keep them at bay and then shed. He has pretty strong hands. You'll see him sometimes rip down to free himself, but he does a nice job generally getting off blocks. I think he does a good job while he's engaged finding the ball carrier. He does a good job kind of working his way through trash and finding the ball. He also shows willingness to take on a puller or a fullback in the hole. Good awareness in zone. Generally shows a good ability to redirect in his drops. Has sideline to sideline speed. Very athletic. He does have some upside, I think, as a blitzer. He's used very often that way. He just doesn't feel quite like he knows what to do as he engages a running back in the backfield. He's a little bit out of control, but he's very deceptive at the line. He has the ability to get skinny on his blitzes, and I think there is some upside there. He plays with a lot of fire. Very tough football player. You can see in the image here, he's playing with a broken hand. I think he played with an injury in the bowl game. So he's a tough football player. As far as things he needs to work on, he doesn't always see what he hits. He tends to lower his eyes and kind of lead with his helmet. Doesn't always wrap. He's at times a bit of a drag down tackler. Gets drug along a little bit. Does not always take good angles. Can get confused at times by misdirection. There are times when he's reading the quarterback and he ought to be in a pattern match man coverage, and he'll lose a back or a tight end out of the backfield. The more I watched, the more that problem continued to creep up. So that's something that needs addressing. That's something he needs to work on. If you only watch his Auburn tape, you'll fall in love with him. He's just great in that game, and most games he's really fun to watch. I really enjoyed watching him play. I really like him. The Washington game gave me pause. He just seems doesn't seem like the same player to me in that game. Very indecisive, and I can't quite put my finger on why, what it is about that game or those players or that scheme. Just not as quick in his decision making or in his reads. There's definitely a lot to like about Troy Dye. I love how he takes on blocks. But he looks to me like a player who's developmental to an extent. And there are definitely some areas of inconsistency. And he could be one of those players, that a year or two from now, people wonder why, he went as late in the draft as he did. I'm not great at predicting that. I think he'll probably go third round. The first things I look for in an inside linebacker, that's Troy right there, would be the ability to come downhill, take on a block in the hole. You see him do that here with the pulling guard. Note that he takes on that outside shoulder, realizes he's got this B gap help here, and then the contain with 56. So he's in his gap, takes on the outside shoulder, physical, gets off that block, and helps to corral the back. He has great length, and he's great at using that length to stop the feet of a would-be tackle or would-be blocker. You see the center come out to get him here. I also like how he's able to find the ball carrier while he's engaged. Watch him pop him right at his shoulder pads, right at his shoulders, stops his feet, gets off the block. Again, rallies to the ball. You see him go for the football there for the strip. Watch that again. I'd say he's much, based on the Auburn tape in particular, he's much more decisive in his reads than Kenneth Murray. He's much more prone to take on, get off blocks than Kenneth Murray is here. I like the angle he takes. Watch how quickly he reads this, his keys here. and triggers to the outside run. I like that he doesn't try to undercut the fullback or go through him, but he gets outside to mitigate what would have been a bigger run. Watch the hit at the end. Watch that again. Troy's the mic on this particular play. I love what this play shows us about Troy. He doesn't make it, doesn't make the tackle, but his ability to get into a guard, in this case, before the guard gets into him, you see him shoot his hands here. At the same time, watching his eyes, you can see that he's attentive to the back and the ball, the path of the ball. He's following that. He's going to find the ball. He also has got some pop in his hands. You can see that. That's just right now his preferred method for getting off blocks. Bam, shoots those arms, extends, stops the feet. He's off. Now, he doesn't get the ball carry here, but I love how he's actively finding the ball or finding the path of the ball carrier while he's engaged. Again, watch how decisive he is here. Now, quickly he triggers after the ball carrier outside. How he takes on that outside shoulder, sets the edge there. Makes a great play on the running back. That's great. Just getting outside of that block. And again, how quickly he triggers there. See him just before the ball, looking at the just before the ball snap, looking at the left guard. Looks like the left guard, and watch that motion that way. He's going to quickly get outside. That's a combination of him reading the line there and reading the back. Really, really nice play recognition. I notice he's very, very confident in his take-ons and very measured in his approach to them. Always kind of finding the ball. You're going to see he really, really destroys this tight end. He's able to stack, kind of dominate him right there with that length and that pop in his hands. Works him outside, sheds, and forces the back out. Watch how quickly he reads this play. Watch how physical he is at the line of scrimmage, getting into a guy who outweighs him by probably 60, 70 pounds. Takes on half of him and presses him back into the ball carrier. And we started this video looking at a clip of him taking on a block in the hole. And here he is, again, real physical at the line of scrimmage. Watch how quickly he reads that as well. He's consistent in how he takes on these blocks. See him shed there with that rip. See him win leverage. Get his hands off first. It doesn't matter how big this guy is coming to him. He wins that leverage, moves him, and rips down, and he's clear. He makes this play because of how smart he is. Watch him read run here based on his keys. Watch him turn his hips and run and break this pass up. And first you can see him take a few steps with the line. Reading run. Sees the keep. Now watch his eyes. Watch him turn and find this route. See that? Watch him find it. He makes his play because he's smart. He makes his play because he knows where this football is going. And he's athletic. Turns and runs, and he finds that football. Great play. He's a 3-down back. I like him in zone coverage. Watch him collision or redirect this mesh here. Kind of knock him off course and force the other end of that mesh just a little bit further under. Watch him run to wall here. Get in front of that mesh and then get underneath. I think it's really good instincts in zone here. Watch how he stays home here and doesn't take off after the quarterback who's flush from the pocket, and does a great job here splitting the middle between the running back out of the backfield and the quarterback. May even be trying to bait the quarterback a little bit here into making this throw. Really good job of sort of taking the middle ground here between the quarterback on the edge and that running back. He's really consistent in these redirects on underneath routes. Watch him take away the tight end here on this boot. There are a couple examples of him lowering his eyes, not seeing what he's hitting. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here. He's playing with a cast on his arm, a broken hand, and he probably isn't able to wrap. So he's trying to make a big hit here. Still want him to see what he's hitting. There are times where you see him have trouble with misdirection in the backfield. A lot going on here. This fake to the flat, this fake give. But he definitely buys on this give to number 8 here, and he loses the back out of the backfield. This looks like him as well. He gets caught up in this mesh in the backfield, and he loses the tight end leaking out. It's possible that's the ends guy, but I don't think so. Looks like the end is taking the back in the flat. That's what it looks like to me. Here we see him take what appears to be a bad angle. You see him cut underneath this lineman. But it's really, I think, him having trouble reading this mesh. And by the time he realizes who has the football, he's not going to, he does have a bad angle, and he's not going to be able to get in on this play. So that's starting to look like a pattern, him having problems picking up the quarterback running back exchange in the backfield. Nice job staying home here. You can see him reading pass here, reading his keys up front. He does not take the bait on this play action. Goes to a wall and then backpedal underneath his skinny and take that throw away. On the whole, I don't think he looks like the same linebacker versus Washington. Less decisive in his reads, gets driven downfield there, not very like him really, not like him at all. He lets this blocker get upon him, get arms into him first and drive him downfield. And you see that throughout the Washington game. Again, this is unlike him in the previous matchups that I've watched. Stands there flat-footed or just sort of running his feet and does not get out on the edge there. Does not do a good job reading that back at all. Again, against Washington, just struggling to read this option and get out on the edge. Unblocked, and he misses a tackle. You see him tackle high there as well. Watch that again. Looks like he takes a bad angle, tries to get inside there, and the guy just beats him outside.